Told you we'd be in here. I am, I think, 5 minutes late. I was trying to scarf down food as fast as possible. I just wrapped up work and immediately just came in here. So, what are we looking for today? Minimum, I would expect an update on God of War Ragnarok, right? At the moment, I've seen a lot of news coming out of Sony, like nothing positive at the moment. So this is desperately needed because they just announced. Well, there's a rumor going around that they shut down Sony Japan Studios, which is sad. Nintendo continues its dominance in Japan, which makes sense if you know anything about Japanese properties and like just generally what they enjoy playing over there. Like, you don't have to be an expert. I'm not an expert. I don't live there, but just looking at sales charts, it's not a surprise, right? As for this show, I do think it's sad. Like, I think when you see Microsoft ramping up and you see Nintendo just continuing its dominance ever since like 2017, I think Sony does need something. It desperately needs something, right? Now, what do I expect to see here? Other than God of War, since I already mentioned that, I don't expect to see Final Fantasy 16, right? Like, I know a lot of people want that, and I know they said we wouldn't see anything on that game until next year. I don't expect to see Final Fantasy 16. I might expect to see Project Athia. That'd be nice. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. There we go, I think. Yeah. Okay. I might expect to see Final Fantasy 16, right? I mean, Project Athia. I expect to see Project Athia. I expect to see God of War. I definitely expect to see Horizon. Maybe some of those smaller games, like Goodbye Volcano High, that'd be cool. I think the game was Stray. I think Stray. I expect to see some of Stray. I expect to see, hopefully some of those weird games we saw, like, whatever that Capcom game was. I forget the name of it. It was like something involving the moon. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. And then there was supposed to be like some new games announced. I seem to recall it was supposed to be a deep dive in like 30 minutes. I don't know about all that, but a deep dive on 10 different titles, including some new announcements. I know they delayed Gran Turismo 7, which sucks for Gran Turismo fans and sucks for Sony in general, because Gran Turismo is still a big seller. I would say its cultural relevance has gotten like dominated by Forza, just because Forza keeps coming out every year, and Gran Turismo comes out once every generation at this point. It feels a little indulgent for a racing game. Like, I understand you want to make the top-notch racing game, but Forza manages to come out with a game every other year. Like, you have Forza and you have Forza Horizon, so every other year you manage to get a game out of them. So for Gran Turismo to be like, yeah, we come out with a game once every 5 to 6 years, it's like, yo, what? You come, what? Like, come on, bro. Even Gran Turismo Sport, I remember that took like, they announced it in like 2015 and it didn't come out for another 3 years. And this Gran Turismo 7, like, who knows how long it'll be. So they said delayed into 2022. We'll see. I don't expect to see too many, like, I think the days of E3 for now are a little over, and I don't expect to see any like smaller games or like any major games from like bigger publishers right now. Like, other than the studios they have like really tight partnerships with, I don't expect to see anything from like, I'd be surprised if I saw an Activision game here, for instance. I would be surprised if I saw a Ubisoft game here, because Ubisoft has their own direct style conference that they do. So I would be very shocked if I saw anything of that nature. And so we're now, 3 seconds? Let's go.
There's some very unexpected developments in your future. Shocking events
Crash
that
on
could
PS5?
change the course of your life.
Or like another crash.
That last part might have been a hair But there's lots of awesome updates and additions coming to the Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time experience on PlayStation 5. Hey everyone, I'm Lou Stutter, creative producer at Toys for Bob. I'm here to give you the feature rundown of Crash Bandicoot 4 on PS5.
It definitely is, Will. I appreciate you for letting me know.
60 frames per second, adaptive triggers, 3D audio, and more.
Let's make this fun.
Picking up where Crash Bandicoot Warp left off, in Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, we find the evil masterminds Neocortex and Dr. Entropy escaping a once-thought inescapable interdimensional prison, leaving giant holes in the universe. What follows is a mind-bending adventure for Crash and his marsupial pals. We designed Crash Bandicoot 4 to leap off your screen, brimming with bold, vibrant environments and characters.
So, my problem with this,
pretty suave.
this makes perfect sense as like, it's pretty much a Sony nostalgia property. Like everybody like associates Sony and Crash together, so it makes sense. But it's also just not the most hype thing. But then again, I don't remember how well Crash 4 sold, so if it sold well, this might be like a good idea to start out with. It certainly looks beautiful. And I think people liked it well enough. I just don't remember if it was like a major, like, even for platformers, I don't know if it was like a major seller or not.
Looking to get fully immersed in the Crash Bandicoot universe? Crank it up to 11 and take your audio into an all-new dimension with enhanced 3D audio. Achieving the infamous 106% completion is the sign of a true Bandicoot master.
Man, I heard people hated trying to make this happen.
Mutated marsupial loses
I heard they were like red hot, like, yo, fuck this.
PlayStation 5 activity cards to track your progress and hit your goals for things like time trials, flashback levels, and boss fights. I bet Entropy wishes he had that. Even bring your incomplete save over from the PlayStation 4 and use the activity cards to get to 106%. Oh, and one more thing. If you own the PS4 version of the game, an upgrade option is available. Check out the PlayStation blog for full details. Whether it's your first playthrough or your 100th, there's no better time to experience Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time on PlayStation 5.
I wonder how many people are buying this game now because it would be cheaper.
Welcome back, Crash. The gang's all here on today's new edition of State of Play. We've got some great updates lined up for you.
3 minutes isn't bad though. Like,
first, let's check out the latest on an eagerly anticipated game coming to the PS5 console this spring from PlayStation Studios.
Hey everyone, we at Housemarque are excited to give you this sneak peek at Returnal. In Returnal,
is this the trailer from yesterday?
Celine, an Astra scout who crash lands on an alien planet, Atropos, after receiving a mysterious signal, White Shadow.
Did the trailer from yesterday leak, or did y'all just put that out ahead of time? Because I would be like super hot if I was Sony and I had like this super tight list of 10 games, and like one game was just like, nah, fuck that, we're gonna put out a trailer early. Like, nah, bro, you wait till afterwards.
Key to survival in Returnal.
Oh shit. The designs on this look kind of cold though. It looks like what Housemarque needed to become to... You about to get wrecked.
With the large variety of enemies and the vast number of unique movesets each possess, combat situations prove challenging no matter what the circumstances.
Yeah, it looked like... What's good, Trell? How you doing? The concept of this is like a AAA roguelike. Like basically you lose and then you die and come back to life.
Enemies will appear in new locations and in differing numbers, so you have to think fast and adapt. Here you can see the use of the lightning alt-fire, which is great for crowd control. This is one of many alt-fires that you can acquire in the game.
Nice.
You will stumble across mysterious devices that can grant rewards to the player. These will vary from weapons, consumables, and upgrades, and they can completely change your playstyle and make each cycle feel unique.
Whoa.
Besides the intense combat, Returnal also has a deep and engaging narrative. We allow players to piece together the puzzle that is the story of Celine, as they venture deeper and deeper into Atropos and into her personal nightmare.
This is the perfect kind of game to launch at the start of the gen. when everybody's looking for just like new, unique experiences, and there aren't that many to be found at the moment, because like right now, all the AAA developers are working on their own projects, and it'll be a while before you get to see them. Partially because of like just how long it takes to develop games, but largely because they want to let the install base build up on next gen before they go launching, you know, some game that costs them $200 million to develop.
No safe space. Exactly as I left it.
It's like March, right?
Returnal lands on April 30th, and it's developed by the talented team at Housemarque.
You keep buffering for me.
Next, let's take a closer look at a high-impact new PS4 game called Knockout City.
Well, that answers the question I had, because I was about to like see if I can update the data. Actually, hold on.
Hi, I'm Josh from Bellin Studios. We're an indie developer based in upstate New York, and we recently announced Knockout City, a team-based multiplayer action game for PS4 where rival crews settle their scores with epic dodgeball battles.
Where did I see this?
Knockout City is easy to pick up and play, but there's a lot of depth here for those who've got the skills. In our 1v1 face-off mode, you'll go head-to-head in a constantly shrinking battleground, relying on your reflexes and abilities to knock out an opponent.
Trill, if you do keep buffering, I will say I'm gonna put this up on YouTube like immediately after I'm done.
Use trick shots to lob a ball over a ledge or hook it around a corner. Fake a throw to mess up your opponent's timing and knock them out before they can recover.
Am I tripping, or was this on the direct?
With a ball flying your way, a last-second dodge is the difference between getting knocked out and staying in the fight. Keep your wits about you and outplay your opponent to bring home a win. Let's jump into Team KO, our 3v3 mode. Teamwork makes the dream work in Knockout City. If your crew is outmatched, a well-coordinated team can still dominate. We're playing in Back Alley Brawl, a new map that you'll find in our upcoming crossplay beta. The special ball for this match is the Sniper Ball, which locks onto targets from far across the map and wham! You can take them out before they have a chance to react. Beyond special balls, each map
I didn't know what was happening.
In Back Alley Brawl, you can hop into a tube and make a quick getaway, or use them to sneak up on your opponents. Caught empty-handed? You can literally become the ball, a new weapon for your teammate.
There's an in Soviet Russia joke there, but I'm not gonna make it.
Launch them high into the air with an ultimate throw, and they'll land in a huge instant KO explosion.
Holy sh! Yeah, that's pretty dope.
The team here at Bellin has been obsessed with building this world over the last 4 years. Knockout City is coming out May 21st, and we'd love your help in our final stretch of development. Rally your crew and sign up for our crossplay beta at knockoutcity.com.
There's a lot of style to this game.
See you soon,
I can't say whether or not it will be like a major success or not, but I hope so. It definitely has like all ages appeal, which is nice. Yeah, I definitely think they showed this at Nintendo Direct. But it's nice to have like all ages games that you can point to, like you can point your kids or your cousins, like your kid cousins or something like that. Like, hey, play this instead of playing something with like 60 billion bullets per second. Like, Stray? No, not Stray. Hands, the game. I wasn't too far off. Crowbars. A rarely used weapon. Bro, how long did they knock you out? Bro, you was asleep that long? You grew a beard? They put you to sleep. I guess that's what they mean when they said, boy, I'm gonna knock you in the next month. What is this game? Am I Samurai Jack? Like, what's happening? Sifu. Okay, that's cool. I like.
That was the debut of Sifu, coming to the PS5 console later this year. Now let's get an update on Solar Ash.
What the fuck was that game? Like, I don't know. Like, what's the story? Like, what? what's the genre? I guess it's just you giving our hands in a game. Like, I like to. You got to give me an idea of what the game is, especially for a game that's supposedly coming out this year. Like, you got to give me some kind of idea of what it is I'm playing.
Hey
Solar
everyone,
Ash.
I'm Alex Preston, creative director of Heart Machine. You might know us as the team behind Hyperlight Drifter.
I was
Today,
just
I'm
about to
here to
ask.
show you the first peek at gameplay for our new title, Solar Ash. Solar Ash is a huge, stylish 3D platformer focused on speed, movement, and fluidity. The game is set inside a giant black hole known as the Ultra Void, which has been consuming everything in its path. You play as Ray, a daring Void Runner who has decided to venture into this terrifying anomaly as a last-ditch effort to save her homeworld. Ray is extremely agile, able to speed across the world with abilities akin to skating. On the ashen clouds, she can quickly cover great distances in our huge world.
I can see how
At
this
its
could be
core,
pretty addicting
Solar Ash
gameplay.
is a game about movement.
Yeah.
Ray has everything she needs to flow through the dangerous and unique world. As you journey to save your planet, you'll find yourself face to face with grotesque and violent creatures. Our combat system is simple, fast, and fluid, built to empower players and encourage flow. As you explore the Ultra Void, enemy encounters will scale to greater and greater sizes. Some of these creatures require speed and precise timing to defeat.
I feel like everything about this game is going to be about like the timing and feeling the movement of the game and just like getting in touch with like the overall flow of the
Ray
game.
will eventually need to face the massive sentinels of this void. Wretched, starved beasts that hold the key to her quest.
I do like the upgraded visuals though, because like Hyperlight Drifter was like, if I remember correctly, like another pixel art type game, and then they just like massively upgraded in terms of they massively upgraded in terms of visuals, but it's
Solar
still
Ash is Heart Machine's vision of the adventure platformer. The giant spaces, the feel of movement, the flow of combat, and the high-stakes battles atop enormous beasts all come together to bring players something we think is incredibly unique, and more importantly, fun.
I definitely agree. This is
game
unique.
is a labor of love for everyone on the Heart Machine team. We're excited to bring Solar Ash to PS5 and PS4 later this year.
I'm happy that they're making games that aren't just like straightforward, and Annapurna Interactive continues to be like
If you're
a
a fan of
major
scary games,
publisher of
this
different
next
developers.
one
I
is
mean,
for
of
you.
different types of games that you just wouldn't normally see.
When I first found you,
Oh my god.
you were nothing.
Is this that Five Nights at Freddy's thing?
Pathetic. But now,
Bro.
I want more. Are you ready?
Yeah, definitely. So so far, it's been like a lot of AA games. Like it hasn't been a lot of like big major AAA like in your face type stuff. Five Nights at Freddy's, we getting in that ass. Oh my god. Can I get out? I always be wondering about this game, like after the first night where you were just positive that these animatronics were moving, like that it. You gotta stay there for the fifth night? Like, you need the job that
You
bad?
and me together.
Plus, by night 2, I'm coming with weapons, bro.
They won't stop hunting you. None of them will stop hunting you.
Damn that. Like, okay, after the first night, it's time to make adjustments. Either you quit this job or you come with some weapons or something. Like, you can't just let these... I'd be damned if I get hunted down by Chuck E. Cheese. It just ain't finna pop off like that. Like, what? Bro. It's one thing if I wasn't sure. Like, I think they moving. That's what I'm saying, Will. They got all this freedom of movement. Like, bro, you look right at it, running at you. Like, you came back to this job after this? You deserve whatever happened to you.
There is
Five
more
Nights at
going on
Freddy's.
here than you realize.
Security breach. This was like a huge thing for a while.
That was a chilling new look at Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. Up next, let's take a tour of Oddworld.
Okay, yeah, I
Soulstorm.
think we've got the measure of like how big, like maybe at the end
Hi,
they
I'm
have
Lauren
one big
Lanning,
game, but I
creative
think for the
director
most
at
part it's just going to be like these
Oddworld
double A
Today,
titles,
I'm
which is
going to
fine.
take you on a brief tour of our newest game, Oddworld Soulstorm.
They've always known you would come. Do you know why you have?
In Soulstorm, you reprise the role of Abe, accidental hero turned unlikely leader of an emerging revolution. As you do battle through weird and wonderful environments in an effort to escape the all-powerful and eternally greedy.
Don't look like y'all doing battle. It look like you just running.
We really wanted to bring this world to life with what we call 2.9D platforming, which adds much more depth and immersion for the player. This sense of connection is also reinforced through the use of the DualSense's haptic feedback, as you'll now be able to feel Abe's heartbeat in high alert and suspenseful situations.
I feel like haptic feedback might
There are
be
well
annoying
over
for some games.
1,000 fellow Mudokons that you must
Like, I'm trying to stay focused on like the gameplay, and I'm feeling the heartbeat of this dude because he's fucking terrified. Like, man, you gonna make me fucking jittery. Like, no, knock it off.
Harness their combined energy.
2.9D. Yeah, man, they afraid of just making like a straight up 3D game. I don't know
And there
why.
will be times when the extra hands will be needed as you face off against an array of heavily armed enemies that will stop at nothing to find and end Abe once and for all.
Oh my god.
In order
Bro,
to
it just
stand
look
a
like you
chance
taking it in
against
this game. It
much
don't look like
larger
you
threat,
getting
we
their
gave you
ass.
the ability to scavenge, loot, and pickpocket items from his surroundings and
Listen over
use
here
them
talking
to
about some,
craft
yeah,
an
you know, it's a
impressive
revolution.
arsenal of his
Ain't no
own
revolution,
that he
you
can
just
share
getting lit
with
up.
others. You can also play as a non-lethal pacifist or an agent of chaos. We wanted you
Shit,
to
they ain't trying to be non-lethal.
But there is one iconic ability for our shamanic protagonist, possession. This mystical power allows you to take control of your foes and use their strengths and weapons against them, or use them to gain access to paths still ahead.
Holy shit.
The Oddworld universe
Yeah,
is
you
in the
died
first
so
place.
many ways
This
in
means that
Oddworld.
there are some
Clearly.
environments and situations that require a little
what?
more thought, patience, and stealth. You'll find dark and dangerous caves, heavily guarded
Rest
industrial
up paying
sites, and
attention, they
ancient
popped out like
forgotten
Scooby-Doo.
lands. Here, we've built lots of opportunities for you to test your skills and find different ways to handle things. It won't be easy. If being hunted by an army backed by a shady and wealthy organization isn't bad enough, there are also more dangers in the forms of natural obstacles, ancient traps, trials against swarming dark creatures, and industrial hazards that must be
Bruh.
and avoided.
My
Ultimately,
god.
Abe's journey is one of hope, freedom, and truth.
You
There's a
get-
rich and engaging narrative
That's
to
a lot,
discover
bruh.
in a world full of lies. And we've been able to bring our characters to life like never before. In true Oddworld fashion, your actions in-game will decide the fate of Abe and all those you manage to liberate along the way.
Man, he
And we
ain't
can't
liberating
wait
them.
to
He
see
liberating
what
them from
you
life.
will do.
Every time I see him leading them somewhere, they getting blown up. Anything exciting so far? No, so far it's just a lot of AA games. I mean, like if you're into these games, it's pretty exciting. But like, these aren't games with mass appeal. It's just like
That was the latest
trying to get
on
as many
Oddworld
different groups of
Soulstorm.
people excited
Here's
in
some
different
exciting
games.
news. Active PlayStation Plus members will get the PS5 version for no extra cost starting in April. PS5 version for no extra cost starting in April.
All right. Oh, Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Moving on, it's time to catch up with Kena Bridge of Spirits, a gorgeous new adventure we last saw in the June PS5 showcase.
Man, they were not lying. Like, all of these games thus far have just been straight up. If you saw it in June, this is what we're showing. They have not shown much of anything other than that. I guess we get a little bit of a gameplay. Like, I was kind of curious about the gameplay of this game anyway.
The rocks seem quite fond of you. They're usually timid. Something tells me you did not come to our village looking for forest creatures.
Hello, Spirit. I seek passage to the sacred mountain shrine.
I feel like they make games like this at the start of every generation. like some super cartoony action platformer type thing, and then it never takes off. I don't know why, whether it's the gameplay that's insufficient or whatever. I guess that, you know, I guess that it's just the gameplay isn't sound enough. But I feel like these games exist constantly, but only at the start of the generation. But maybe this is the one that figures it out.
Trapped spirits linger here, tangled in the tragedies of our past.
Like, I'd like for there to be like a, yeah, exactly, a cameo, Elements of Power. That's exactly the game I was thinking of. I feel like that's always at the start of every generation, and you just don't see him again. Like, maybe if the gameplay's sound, because the visuals on this are amazing, it's incredible, it's beautiful to look at. Maybe if it's sound as a game, they can turn this into a franchise, and you can finally get a franchise of this. Oh, she put on the mask at the end, looking cold. Bro, what? Oh my god. Somebody lost. Okay.
Path of the Spirit Guide is the only one.
August? Alright, okay. August is
now
a good
let's settle in
time
for a
period
stylish new look at Deathloop, a PS5 first-person shooter developed by the team at Arcane.
Possibly one of the last Bethesda games to ever be on the PS5. Maybe not. You know, maybe Microsoft decides to play nice. Or maybe they're just like, look, we're going to honor these agreements because y'all signed them before we bought you. And then after that, bro, that's it. Ain't no more Bethesda games on PS5 or any other console.
This little ditty goes out to the handsome asshole.
Not that this could run on Switch anyway.
Cold. The visionaries are ready to dance. Aren't you?
It seems like a solid game to go out on. Well, it'll be this, and then I forget the name of the other game. The Ghost Ninja type game. Ghostwire Tokyo. I think both of those are PS5 exclusive. But that's not what people want. The people want Starfield and they want Elder Scrolls 6. And I don't think they're gonna get that. Man, this game has so much style to it though. Ghostwire Tokyo is Bethesda, but it looks so good. Well, Bethesda's not just... When you think Bethesda, you're thinking of Fallout, and you're thinking of Fallout and Elder Scrolls and what's the game that they came out with, Fallout 76? But they're a publisher, they're not just a developer. So they have Tango Gameworks, the same people that made The Evil Within. And they also have the people that made Wolfenstein, Machine Games. They have Doom Eternal, It Games. So they have a lot of different development studios, so they're not always going to look like trash. Bro. My God. Goodness. If this game is good, it's gonna sell like fucking high cakes. Like, there's just so much style to it, and it feels like the type of game people would love to just play over and over again.
Let's do it again tomorrow.
What to do when the bullet is the same, but the kill is always.
This trailer got like a Bond-esque feel to it. Yeah, it's the music that's doing that.
Rambling Frank. The
rest of you motherfuckers are next.
It's the music and then like the design in the background. I compare it to like Hitman based on the premise. Hopefully it has the replayability. Yeah, I think the whole like the fact that you die and come back is the replayability thing.
Update for one of 2020's most celebrated games.
There it is. This was rumored like a Final Fantasy VII remake update for PS5.
Help me!
Come on, let's push it past the red line! Now it's my turn!
This was rumored to be called Ever Crisis. Let's see if that rumor turns out to be correct. Right?
A touching reunion.
Well, guys, your girl finally made it to Midgar.
Yuffie?
My name is Yuffie.
Hey!
An elite special forces operative for the new Wutai government.
What's happening here?
To our common enemy, that Wutai is not to be trifled with. Members of Avalanche, we got this.
I'm back.
Ah, there you are. Someone's been expecting you. What took you?
Sorry about that. Anyway, it's nice to meet you. I'm
Zach?
Sonon Kasakabe.
Oh.
Where's Clown?
We lost him.
You what?
He will be okay though, right?
Well, of course.
What is happening right now?
They're the ones who blew up the reactors. Cool. Should we say hi?
No, better not. After what they've done, you gotta assume Shinra's on their tail.
Look, a Moogle!
Stop!
We gotta help.
Whoa. This ain't part 2. It can't be part 2. So it's gotta be like a little side game. But it's looking cold. This looks cold, bruh. Hey, Yuffie. You got some moves, please? I see you.
Boss!
You guys should probably get moving.
Got it.
Whatever it is they're planning, you're better off out of it.
They deserve what's coming to them.
Yeah, they do. But I'm not your sister.
There you are.
Who are these jerks?
No clue. It just appeared.
Intergrade. Okay. No. Ooh, what's good, Terrence? June 10th.
Get down here, Merc.
I need a PS5 though. I mean, I need to have the money for one, but even if I had it, where you gonna find one? Updated door texture. Yeah, I'm glad they finally fixed them doors everybody was terrified about. I never saw like a bad door, so, but then I mean, I didn't play the game, so. Oh, they made a big thing of like the honeybee end thing. They really made sure they kept that. Dupree will be happy. Yeah, I don't know if he played this or not. Well, I imagine he did. But I guess he must have been like heated about the textures in the game. Prioritize displaying graphics for 4K. And prioritize load time is what you need to prioritize. Difficulty setting. Okay. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I can't wait. Money gonna be spent. You gotta spend it. Oh, for like camera mode? Bet. Them Instagram filters. New episode featuring Yuffie.
Wait, what? You see that?
That's how ninjas do it.
Yep.
Okay, I see you. You can upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version for free. The new episode featuring Yuffie available for purchase after upgrading to... Okay. So the Yuffie version is like exclusively... Okay, that makes sense.
That was the reveal of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, coming to the PS5 console later this year. And that's our show. We hope you're as excited as we are for what's to come in 2021. See you next time.
Okay, so that was the show. Let's go back and talk about some of the stuff that they showed off. Not that far back. Actually get some of the games on the screen. So they started off with Crash. I mean, like, Crash makes the most, like, it wasn't hype as far as, like, opening up the show with, like, something super crazy. Is it really only PS5? Yeah, I imagine it is. I imagine it is just exclusively PS5. That makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It gives you a reason to, like, not only upgrade, but also just to get a PS5. I imagine people are going to be heated about it. But to be honest with you, that L was going to come sooner or later anyway, because there's no way, if, let's say Final Fantasy VII Remake Project is 3 games long. Game 2, you're lucky if Game 2 is PS4. Game 3 is not going to be PS4. The sooner they get y'all used to the idea that you're going to have to finish this on a PS5 or on PC, the sooner they get y'all used to that, the better, because the third game, that ain't going to be on no PS4. It's going to be way too graphic intensive, because by that time, like, the PS5 install base is going to be large enough that it's not going to matter. Anyway, as far as this goes, it was a little surprising that they started out with a PS4 port of a game that wasn't like a super huge hit, but then also this is more of like a tone setter. Like, you get in and they expect you to, like, realize early on, like, all right, it's not going to be a bunch of super AAA games. In fact, come to think of it, God of War wasn't present, Horizon wasn't present. None of the really, really big, like, we spent a lot of money on these games, none of them were present. In fact, the biggest game was Final Fantasy VII. That was kind of like the crown jewel. Without it, this would have been a very mediocre, I won't say bad, but it would have been very kind of mediocre. Like, without that and Deathloop, I'll say Deathloop too. Like, I would have said it would be very mediocre. Like, all right, these games, I already knew they existed. A couple of them are just ports of existing games. Like, that's not going to cut it. Returnal, that's another good game that they had. I appreciate them for trying to push this, because Housemarque was a very good, hardworking developer for them. Last gen, they put a ton of work into, like, making really great games like Resogun and what's it, the Alien something game. Like, they weren't games for me, but they were like really excellent twin stick shooter games. And now it looks like they're trying to merge the gameplay, the excellence in gameplay that they're used to, with like a narrative and like a universe with lore that you can delve into, the kind of stuff that people pick up on. And then also people do love, like, a lot of gameplay. Like, you can look at your Dark Souls and you can look at your Bloodborns and your Sekiros, like games that are really gameplay intensive, but they also have some kind of story and universe, and it doesn't feel like all stripped down. And that's what this looks like it's going to be. So, and then also it has a little bit of that roguelike element to it, where you die and come back and like you change the way that your characters are set up and stuff like that. Like, it looks like they're really putting the work in to make this into a good franchise, right? Like, and then the thing is, when you really think about it, as far as this game goes, it's launching at a perfect time. Like, it's launching at a time where, like I said before, people are looking for new experiences. There aren't going to be a lot of AAA games going on this year, like, especially when you consider, like, the pandemic forcing people to work from home, forcing people to not be able to develop games, like, or to not be able to move as fast developing games. And developing games is already, like, super difficult. It's already so much work. Like, a lot of times the game doesn't even come together until the last year, the last few months. That's when the game looks like, oh yeah, this looks like it'll be a hit. They don't even know 2-3 years into the game, like, is this gonna work? Maybe, maybe not. So this is gonna be like a big enough game where they can be like, we have this, come check this out. And people that own a PlayStation 5 and don't have that many games, they'll have this to play. So that's a good idea. What was next? Knockout City? I feel like this was the game they showed at the Direct. Like, I could be wrong, but I think this was the game they put on the Direct. And if it is, it's crazy that they managed to get both into the Direct and the State of Play. If it's not, it's bad that I confused this with the game at the Direct. That's not good, but it doesn't look bad. And it is nice to have more all ages games. And I do like that early on into the gen, they always have more experimental stuff. Like, you won't, like, it's 2021 now. Come 2024, you won't see none of this. Sony will not, like, we saw this last gen. We saw this in 2014, 2015, 2016. Like, that era of Sony was all about, like, indie games and AA games. And then come 2017, when they had all their big AAA games, their big AAA ducks in a row, they were like, look, we ain't got time for all of that. We're not showing you any of that. We're only going to show, like, the biggest games possible. So, like, enjoy this stuff now. Like, if you like these kind of games, these smaller titles, enjoy it now, because 2024, 2025, they're not going to have none of that for you. None of it. What is this? What is this game? It looked cold. You hand it out. You give it out hands. I like games where you give out hands, and it's got, like, a little Sleeping Dogs kind of vibe to it as far as, like, the designs and, like, the architecture and stuff. And that's cool, but what is this game? Like, it's just, like, gameplay. Like, all right, I'm so confused. Like, all it is just hands. Is there a story to the hands? What kind of gameplay? Like, do you level up? Do you change your... Is there mysticism involved? Like, where you go? Like, what are you doing in this game? Like, somebody explain. Like, okay, you gave me gameplay, but you didn't give me, like, an explanation of what the game actually is. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to go, who the fuck knows where, go to Gematsu or something like that to figure out what this game is. Because they couldn't even be bothered, like, the narrator couldn't even be bothered to tell me. Which means Sony may not even know what this game is. I hate when developers do that. Like, cool, show me gameplay, but also tell me what this game is. That's the story, hands, what else you need. That's basically what they did. They basically legitimately, like, put that trailer up and was like, look, it's about hands. You don't need to know nothing else. Like, no, I need to know all of it, bro. Like, you got to tell me what type of game am I playing? What's the setting? Who the character is, like, who's the lead character? All I know is he got knocked out and woke up with a beard. Like, come on, bro. Like, that. First of all, that don't even make me want to play your game. If you about hands and you get put to sleep, and then next time you wake up, you got, like, the Mandarin beard. Like, I ain't with that. Anyway, Solar Ash. Like I said, this is exactly the kind of upgrade that I want to see from a indie game. Like Hyper Light Drifter was like all pixel art and stuff, if I remember correctly. And then for this to, like, massively upgrade in graphics, but also still maintain that look of, like, we didn't drop $200 million on a game. Like, this is just a really pretty game, and it's going to be gameplay intensive. Like, you can tell it's all about the movement. It's all about feeling the flow of the game so that you can get through the level in as, like, stylish a manner as possible. And if you're not really able to feel the flow of the game, it's probably not for you. Hopefully it'll have accessibility and stuff like that. But, like, as far as the difficulty of the game, it's clearly in being able to constantly move and understand what you have to do to get through the level, both moving and fighting enemies. So that's pretty cool. Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't really have much to say about this. It feels like Five Nights at Freddy's was a bigger thing. 4 or 5 years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. It feels like Five Nights at Freddy's was a big thing on PC, and now Sony's like, yeah, we're gonna get into the action now, well after the fact. That's what it feels like. to their credit, this game is beautiful. It's really pretty. And I mean, like, people, horror games do well largely because of Twitch, to be honest with you. Like, you get on Twitch, you play the game, you're like, oh shit, I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, and you get all terrified and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, those games always do well on Twitch, and they always do, like, so for that alone, there's probably still some juice in this property, hopefully, for their sakes, because they're pushing it pretty hard. Oddworld Soulstorm. I don't have anything to say about this other than I am impressed. There we go. Okay. I am impressed that this game has managed to stick around for as long as it has. I seem to recall being a kid in, like, high school, and they were, like, putting out Oddworld games, and, like, I see, like, magazine ads for Oddworld, and, like, this same franchise, this same company is still developing Oddworld games, like, you know, a decade later or whatever, 2 decades later. Like, props to them. That's really all I have to say. Like, it does look very pretty, even though every time they show somebody, it's like, yeah, you know, it's showing he's going to be a leader, he's getting them out of trouble, and then as soon as they say something about him being a leader, like, everybody he leading gets exploded in, like, very visceral, disgusting fashion. You just see guts and, like, body parts everywhere. Like, man, he ain't leading them nowhere but to some L's. But, I mean, if that's the game you want to play, jump in it. Kenna Bridges Spirits. I think I commented on Kenna as much as I could. As far as this game goes, it really does look like the game that you see at the start of every generation. Super cartoony, super, it just doesn't have like that feel of I'm going to be around in the middle of the gen. Like, I don't see there being a Kenna Bridges Spirits 2, even though I would like it to be. Returnal is a sci-fi horror version of Control, in my opinion, and I'm all for it. Returnal's going to be good. I don't want to say, well, I don't want to comment on, like, the actual quality, but, like, it's going to do well. It's going to perform well. I can tell. It has that feel of, like, a breakout new IP to me. Like, it has, like, it feels like a developer that figured out the thing that it was missing, and then from there, explosion. And it's just going to be, like, they're going to be a big developer. Like, Housemarque, if somebody asked me to pick one of 5 breakout developers for the next gen, Housemarque will be one of them, based entirely off of Returnal. Because Returnal, like I said, it does merge like that high-level gameplay with like the universe and the story that people want. But as far as Kenna would be a success to me if they can make a Kenna Bridges Spirits 2. And this one reviews even kind of good. Like, if it reviews at like an average of an 8, an 80 on Metacritic, 85 on Metacritic, like that right there, and then a Kenna Bridges Spirits 2, it would be a success as a franchise. Because that's usually what the problem is. Like, these super cartoony games that exist at the start of the generation, like, they're trying to show how close video games can be to Pixar or whatever. And it's getting closer every gen. Like, it looks better every gen. This game looks incredible. But can they make it? Is there any staying power in this franchise? And that remains to be seen. Max called this game 2021 Star Fox Adventures. So with Star Fox Adventures, this is just a little side, and I can see the charm in that. Yeah, this is a little side discussion. As far as Star Fox goes, like, it's sad that Star Fox got like roped into just doing the same thing, and that's why Nintendo doesn't want to make any Star Fox games. Like, they keep making the same remake of Star Fox 64 because they tried to do different stuff on the GameCube, and the people didn't want it. And so now here we are looking at like Star Fox Zero, and it's just like the whole point is like weird, gimmicky, like no, like, and that's what happens when you when the fans force because Star Fox really should have broke out beyond just being a on-rail shooter, and it never did because the fans just didn't seem like they wanted it. Hopefully, Kenna Bridges Spirits can create its own universe in a way that like people like. It's going to need memorable characters beyond just the main character, memorable villains. Like, the locales are already memorable. It's beautiful. So hopefully it can like strike a chord with people and be a franchise that doesn't look like every other franchise that's out right now. Deathloop, like I said, this is going to be one of Bethesda's last games on PlayStation, probably. It just depends. Like, you never know. Like, the only reason I'm not saying 100% for certain is because of Game Pass. Game Pass has a thing where we can launch it. Like, if you're subscribed to Game Pass, you get all the Microsoft's new games day and date. So like they can always go the route of, hey, if you want to play it on PlayStation, we'll release it on PlayStation. It's $70 on PlayStation, so have fun with that. If you got it on Game Pass, I mean, you just get it. Like, you're already paying for Game Pass. You already get all these other games, and as soon as this game comes out, there it is for free. Well, for free. You know, like, there it is. It's already available. That's the only reason I'm not saying that Starfield and Elder Scrolls and all the other games that are coming out on Bethesda, from Bethesda developers, that's the only reason I'm saying that they could see them. I could see them being like, let's try this. Let's try this alternate method of not pissing off the fans, but just being like straightforward about it. Like, it's $70 to buy a new console, like PlayStation 5 games and Xbox, what is it? Series X? God, these names are so terrible. Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 games are $70 now. So if you want a new game from us, it's $70 on PlayStation, but it's nothing. It's like, what is it? $15, $14.99 a month for Xbox Game Pass. It's that. Like, you can just get it for $14.99. And then I can imagine them also maybe being pissed. Is this exclusive? I think it is exclusive. Okay. Because I was going to say, like, if it, like, does crazy numbers on PlayStation 4 and then just, or PlayStation, and it does, like, mediocre numbers on Xbox, people might, like, Xbox might just get pissed. Of course, when you drop, what did they drop? Like, billions. When you drop billions of dollars on one publisher with like 13 studios, you're probably not thinking of anything petty like that, but you never know. But yeah, this game does look great. I'm surprised they didn't show anything from Ghostwire Tokyo, which makes me think that game is a ways off. What's left? Final Fantasy? Yeah, like I said, this and Deathloop made this whole state of play. Like, to me, without Deathloop and without this state of play is way worse than the Direct that everybody was complaining about last week. That Direct was, at least it felt like a lot of games. This was a handful of games, and it's a handful of games you already know about for the most part, and a handful of games that aren't that big. At least with this, like, you got Yuffie coming out of nowhere, a little side story to expand the FF7 Remake universe. That's cool. You got Deathloop, which everybody's excited about, so that's pretty cool. But without that, it's just like, man, I already knew about all this. Even Returnal, which I think looks pretty cool, they had just shown something in that. Like, they just had a trailer yesterday, so like, what? What are we doing? What are we talking about? So yeah, overall, this state of play is okay. I don't know what I'm gonna see, because like when I finished talking about the Direct last week, I thought I was gonna go online and see people. Bro, they announced some new FF7 mobile games, and one of them is a battle royale. I mean, battle royales make money, right? I guess. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can understand what they're doing. Like, they're trying to get as much money out of FF7 as possible while they spin up Final Fantasy 16. That makes sense. But yeah, I guess I expect to see people hyping this, but I also expect to see like a lot of salt. Because quite frankly, I don't think anybody expected it to have this many small games, and like for them to say, okay, we only have 10 games. When you say something like that, I'm expecting big games. Maybe one or two small games, but largely big, like the big heavy hitter shit. Like I'm not expecting no fucking Solar Ash. Like Solar Ash is gonna be huge. And then like, and that's the other thing, like where's Goodbye Volcano High? Where's Stray? Where, like, when it's smaller games, I expect more of them. Like, I need to know, like, all the, like, because you hyped way more games in last June, and now they're all mysteriously missing. I'm not a big fan of that. And there's a FF7 Remake Pocket Edition. That's for Japan. That is definitely for Japan, and it's basically tacit admission that Sony is not doing that well in Japan, and if they want their games to be huge successes in Japan, they're gonna have to go to where Japanese people are, and that's usually on like mobile or Switch. So that's what you wind up with. Sony's gonna have to put in more work in general. Like, this is cool, but I would be surprised. I would not be surprised. In fact, I'll be surprised if I see people go online and they're going like, yeah, you know, I didn't really wonder where God of War was. I didn't really wonder where Horizon was. I think God of War might have been... Nah, neither of them has been delayed, I don't think. So, like, where are those games? You know, where are your big first-party games? Where are the big major games coming this fall? Like, this laid out stuff all the way to August, so maybe that was what they wanted to do, just have like a hard limit on August. I am curious to see when they're going to start talking about PC for this game. Because, you know, every game that, even the games that are exclusive, they wind up coming to PC eventually. But I understand that there is I don't want to say embargo, but just like the exclusivity period for this is like April 10th. I think it's over April 10th. So I guess you wouldn't find out, like, I don't expect to go online anywhere and see anything about PC version, the Final Fantasy. Just the PS5 version is pretty much what I expected here. And it does look like it's going to be worth a buy, even if you already own, well, it's worth an upgrade. It's worth upgrading to, even if you already have played through the PS4 version, like, it's worth an upgrade just to, like, try it again on, like, PS5. So, in any case, I think that wraps it up for us. I will be back tonight on Octopath Traveler. I'm not sure if I want to cover the Pokemon Direct tomorrow because the Pokemon thing, I don't know if it's going to be games or not. It may just be like Pokemon multimedia stuff, like movies, anime, and that kind of stuff. Like, I like Pokemon games. I don't love Pokemon like multimedia, so I don't know. It just depends. I'll get back to y'all. I'll let y'all know tonight. But yeah, I'll be back tonight playing Octopath Traveler, finishing that up. We've got 4 characters left, so about 5 hours, 6 hours left. As for this will go up in as soon as I get off. So I appreciate y'all for coming through. We got quite a few viewers, way more than I expected. I love every one of y'all. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.